I don't know. I mean, I think you know Rogan. Yeah. I don't know Joe, but he seems like a guy who really knows who he is.
Yeah.
And the problem he has, and you know this, Dave, we've talked about this. If you don't have your own platform, and even with your own platform, Amazon can cut you off. The banks can cut you off. If you don't have your own platform, where are you going to go? He just traded YouTube, which would have kicked him off by now, traded YouTube and all those views and easy access without a paywall. He traded that to go over to Spotify. He was smart enough to make sure that they're paying him. Money doesn't talk. It screams. $100 million screams to him, but it also screams to Spotify. You don't flush that down the toilet.
So it is about control. We're in the beginnings of it. Do you see any markers that show us the way out of this? So, for example, as we're taping this right now, there is a massive, probably the biggest worldwide convoy of trucks happening in Canada right now in protest of these mandates, of these lockdowns, which is directly connected, obviously, to everything else you're talking about here. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good.
That's great. And it is those things that will stop it. But what has to be stopped, the most important thing that cannot get its roots any deeper, if you're an investor, a 401k, and let's say you have your 401k through, I don't know, JP Morgan or whatever, I want you to go to your website and look for ESG scores. And I think it's Charles Schwab that has the ESG score for your account. And when I've talked about this, I think it was Bank of America or Citi, one of the banks called and said, no, that's not what ESGs are about. We're never going to use them for people. And I said, then why is your subsidiary using it on my account? Why do I have an ESG score? And they said, well, that's because we're doing that because a lot of people really care about social justice and environment and governance of the boards. And so we're just helping them know who they're investing in. And I said, you're so full of crap, you can't see through the brown in your eyes, for the love of Pete. Now they are clear on this. ESG has to be stopped right now because that is the control of your business, of your money, of absolutely everything in your life. It is your social credit score, and it is starting at the bank level for businesses. All of the big businesses, they're all in on ESG. Warning, that is the fascistic system that will trickle down to you.
And Glenn, call me crazy, but do you think they might be able to link something like an ESG score to perhaps a vaccine passport? Is that something a crazy person might say?
That's why the vaccine passport is so important. I was talking to one of those truckers that was in Canada, and he had to deliver something to the United States. He has to have the app on his phone that he shows, and you just scan the QR. He got to the border for the Canadian crossing. He went to the United States and then turned around after he dumped his load, and he was coming back into Canada. He had his phone on the QR code, and he was ready to put it out the window and to show it to the guy. He rolls the window down. He starts moving towards him. The guy goes, "No, I got that. You're okay. Go ahead." And he said, "Wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to scan this?" And he said, "No." And I don't remember the distance, but it was like, when you're within a quarter of a mile, all of that is transmitted to us. We know exactly who you are.
Oh.
Holy cow. And by the way, if you think this is nuts, it has gotten so bad in China that you cannot leave your house without your phone. If you do, the facial recognition finds you. They send the police out to you to say, go back to your house and get your phone. It is such a part of life now. You've heard the Amber Alert, the That's what happens when you start to approach someone who has a low credit score. If you have a low social credit score, everybody's phone around that person warns them, don't get any closer or it'll affect your score. This stuff with Joe Rogan is not about COVID. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's about silencing any kind of dissent. And if they win with Rogan, we're gone. We're gone.
So we covered that on my show this morning. I said it is the biggest cultural and political story of the day.
It is.
And I mean by the day, I don't mean literally today. I mean right now, it is the biggest thing because it's a marker for everything. Do you think Rogan's going to be able to stand up to this thing? Because, he gave a pretty good pushback, but Spotify now is putting disclaimers in front of his videos, which he said he welcomed. So do you think he can fight this thing?
So here's the thing. I don't know. I mean, I think you know Rogan. I don't know Joe. But he seems like a guy who really knows who he is. Yeah. And the problem he has, and you know this, Dave, we've talked about this. If you don't have your own platform, and even with your own platform, Amazon can cut you off. The banks can cut you off. If you don't have your own platform, where are you going to go? He just traded YouTube, which would have kicked him off by now, traded YouTube and all those views and easy access without a paywall. He traded that to go over to Spotify. He was smart enough to make sure that they're paying him. Money doesn't talk. It screams. $100 million screams to him, but it also screams to Spotify. You don't flush that down the toilet. Can he make some adjustments to his show? Yeah, he shouldn't. We should all be outraged that the federal government, the only reason why Spotify did anything, they don't care about Joni Mitchell for the love of nobody. Joni Mitchell's family doesn't care about Joni Mitchell. So it's not that. It's that the Surgeon General came out and on advice from the White House and said, this is dangerous to people. And, social media and Spotify, they need to step up their game. Well, that is the very clear definition of a violation of the First Amendment. There's the government using their power to coerce somebody to do something. I don't know, Dave, if he survives. I hope he does. But COVID is only the pregame. Financial is the real game. And when our economy starts to collapse, the Great Reset people back in December did a 9 or 10 day war game on a financial collapse. And the first thing that they did was they had to silence the people who were saying anything other than the official truth. And what they were saying was, these people are going to get the entire financial system globally to collapse. You've got to shut them up. And those people were saying, I don't think I believe the bank on this, or maybe you should get your money out of the bank because bank holidays are coming. All of those things are true as they wargamed, but they will silence us quickly.
The move that the Surgeon General made, that comment that he made that, the big tech companies, they should look into this sort of thing is very consistent with what this administration did. I'm sure you saw the video. I'm sure you covered it when Jen Psaki a couple months back. Yeah, we flag things for Facebook. Have they just figured out a way around the First Amendment at this point? I mean, does the First Amendment exist?
What they just did is against the First Amendment.
Well, it's not a law. In other words, have they just figured out the wink and it works? That you don't need to pass a law. Yeah.
So that is the thing about the Great Reset. Everyone is a stakeholder. And it is a complete end run around the Constitution, around all governments. It is an amazing thing. By the way, he's still pushing his Build Back Better package. Guess who else is doing that right now? England has a Build Back Better package, almost the same. I think France does as well. Germany has one as well. And they're all exactly the same. It's just how open and honest are you going to be on what it's going to cost? We're saying that it's free. I think Germany is saying, yeah, we're going to tax the snot out of you.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.